that some people used to permanently live on the site because the site, some people believe that was under development. It had to continue being developed. Okay, it's not that just this was it and that was it. You
Right.
know, things change, culture changes. So along with it come structural changes. Okay. Yeah.
So when they found the site,
Back in the day.
back in the day, so the government took over right away when they noticed it.
No. Okay, that's an important question that merits a very long answer. I'll try to be brief.
Yeah.
I'll try to summarize, okay? The site was discovered in 1914. Way back in 1914, this was a private property. 13 acres, which belonged to Mr. Aquino Gonzalez, history states. And Mr. Gonzalez, like any other landowner, would walk throughout this field that we will walk in a little while. And history also states that most of the property was overgrown.
Okay.
And Mr. Gonzalez would trip and stumble on some of the boulders that would be above ground because most of the courts were beneath 1 to 2 feet of earth. And those upright boulders, when the site was discovered, were actually fallen. Some were face down, some were face up, some were sideways, and they were mostly covered by dirt. Okay, so Mr. Gonzalez would stumble, and he would also find pieces of pottery lying around. Okay?
Yeah, what happened?
Okay, well, the rumors spread in the neighborhood. Hey, on Mr. Gonzalez's property, there's archaeological evidence. Now, in 1914, the New York Academy of Sciences sponsored a group of scientists to visit the island, and they were to undertake some investigations. Okay? And in that group of scientists, there were 2 North American anthropologists, Robert T. Aitken and John Alden Mason. And these 2 anthropologists just so happened to visit the town of Utuado because someone had mentioned to them that in the central mountainous area of Puerto Rico, they could see people with physical characteristics that pointed back to the Tainos. So they were interested in researching that area of anthropology. And they were in Utuado, and someone mentioned to them that there was a property in this neighborhood called Caguana, and that there was archaeological evidence. They might be interested. And they sidetracked from their work, visited the site, they introduced themselves to Mr. Gonzalez, and they asked him for permission to dig here. So that's how the site was discovered. Mason and Aitkins were the first ones to actually excavate the site from 1914 to 1915. Okay, so credit is given to them for first having, quote, discovered the site.
Acknowledge there was a site here.
Okay, yes. But the site would be restored by Puerto Rican anthropologist and archaeologist Dr. Ricardo E. Alegría and his colleague Hector Moya Montero. They would undertake the restoration from 1959 to 1964 after the government expropriated the land. The government decided that this was a very important archaeological site that had to be saved and restored. So the government assigned some funds to expropriate the land. This occurred in 1957. And in 1957 they gave the owner, which at that time was a different man, his name was Manuel Diaz Mas, they gave him market value for the 13 acres, which in 1957 was $4,984 with 12 cents.
You heard that?
Yes, but that was market value.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, though, they didn't consider the
historical value.
The historical value, yes. So
just like the government. We gotta be honest.
Yes.
That's fine.
So the site was restored. The restoration was completed in 1964, and 1 year later, in 1965, the Institute of Puerto Rican Culture inaugurated it as an archaeological museum open to the public. And it's been open ever since, until this very morning that we are here. So basically that's the history of the site, how it was discovered, how it was restored. Okay? And as we go along, we will continue to answer some questions.
Yeah.